God. Ask God.
Hi Scott, Elliot in the UK. Just want to say, great podcast, listening to all your stuff. Keep up the good work. I'm just about to ship my first product from China to FBA, and I'm just wondering, you mentioned a while back in one of your podcasts about going over $2,500 with DHL, and you actually got penalised for that. I just wondered if you could just sort of run over that again. You probably don't want me reminding you of this, but you went over the $2,500 and you said that it subsequently cost you a lot more in sort of customs and fees. I'm going to be sort of doing 500 units that'll put me right on that threshold of 2,500. And I just wondered if you could perhaps run over why it might be advised to stay under the $2,500. I just really don't want to sort of be hit with any big fees or anything. So if you could perhaps just run over that again, Scott, that'd be fab. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, Elliot from the UK. I love it when you guys call in from the UK or Australia or just another country. It's just amazing to me still that we're able to do this and connect like that. It's awesome. Okay, cool. And actually, I got to go back to Periscope. Same thing. I do the same thing on Periscope. I got people, calling in from Hong Kong, or people connecting, from Singapore or whatever. But anyway, awesome. Okay, cool. To answer your question, I'm going to give you what had happened to me. I don't think there's like 100% of like, if it goes to here, it's going to trigger it. This is just what was told to me by a DHL rep. Okay. And she basically said to me, if you go over $2,500, it kind of goes into a different type of customs processing, a little bit more of a deeper, more of a manual type process. And then from there, that also bumps up your percentage that you're going to pay for your custom fees. Now, DHL will handle all of that stuff, but you are just going to have to pay more. So the lesson that I learned, and for those of you that are brand new and you didn't hear that actually was episode number 32. So that's theamazingseller.com/32. And you can read that post and you can listen to that podcast. It was how to avoid my $1,080 shipping mistake. And that was the truth. And it was funny too, not funny, but a guy came to the TAS meetup that we had in Texas at Podcast Movement. And he came right up to me and he shook my hand. He goes, "Man, I got to thank you. You saved me over $1,000. I'm like, "How's that?" And he's like, "I listened to that one episode and I was about to place my first order. And if I would have did it the way I was going to do it before I listened to that, I would have got hit with that fee or something close to it. So I want to thank you for that." And all it really was, or all that I really talked about in there, and that's what the rep told me, was like, if you can keep your orders, the amount of the order, 2,500 or less, then you shouldn't really run into any other issues. It should kind of just go through the normal customs process. So that's really what I try to do now. So my problem was, though, and it wasn't even my mistake necessarily, it was my supplier's mistake. They added my shipping fee into the total invoice when your custom fees are really based off of the product fee. At least that's how it was explained to me. So for example, if I'm going to spend $2,000 on the product, but then the shipping fee is another $1,500. Well, now I'm at $3,500. If they put that in the invoice as a total, then that there is going to show as $3,500. But if it just shows the invoice total of $2,000, then it's going to probably be okay. I can't say for sure. It's probably going to be okay. So that's kind of like the interpretation how I understand it. And that's what's been working for me. I've done plenty of orders since then. And that's what I've been doing is, number one, making sure that my supplier knows to not include the shipping cost in there. Because some of you know that, if you're doing air shipping, your cost of shipping could be almost as much as your product. And I'm okay with that as long as and you guys have heard me say that before, I'm okay with that as long as the numbers make sense. If the numbers make sense, I'm cool with that. If my product costs $1 and it costs me $2 to ship it, so it costs me $3 for the product, I get it here in 3 days after they manufacture it, If it makes sense, I do that. Obviously, if it doesn't, then I don't. And then in the future, if this thing really took off and you were going to start buying containers, well, now you could reduce your cost by maybe $1.50. But at the worst case, you need to think of that. So anyway, that's on a whole nother topic. But I just did want to just kind of clarify that I basically now I just make sure that the orders coming through are basically within that amount, and I make sure that my supplier knows to do that. Now, some people say, well, Scott, why didn't you make the supplier go ahead and do that? We kind of met in the middle a little bit. I mean, they took care of me as far as future units. So now they charge me maybe 15 or 20 cents less per unit since then. And because I've been an ongoing customer, they might have done that anyway. But they kind of said, well, we can't give you money for that, that issue because that's a customs thing. But what we can do is in the future, we'll lower your price by this. So that might mean, an extra $200 or $300 off every single order, maybe even more, depending on how much I order. So, and that's going to be lifetime. So I just chalked it up as, hey, I learned from this. It cost me some money. I also can take that customs fee and I write it off. Obviously, I put it on my taxes. So if you're paying 30% in federal income tax, then you can take 30, not just federal, but state too. If it's combined, if you're paying 30%, then you can pretty much say that it really was a $700 mistake if you look at it that way. But anyway, so that's pretty much, that's kind of clarifying that hopefully. And if you guys have not checked that out, I would definitely check out that post. That's episode number 32. And you can hear that and hopefully learn from it. If you guys want to submit a question, head over to theamazingseller.com/ask, and you can do that. I want to also, again, remind you guys, if you're brand new and this is your first time to the show, I want to welcome you. I love hanging out with you guys. This is just awesome to be able to virtually connect like this, and that's why I love the Ask Scott sessions. But if you are brand new and you're just getting your feet wet and you don't understand the entire process, the entire business model, I would recommend attending one of my live free workshops. This is where I break it down for you in 5 phases: how to pick a market and a product, how to source it, how to do a pre-launch, how to do a launch, how to promote the product, and everything in between. We go over that on a workshop, and we go through every single thing. We also do live Q&A. So if you want to attend one of them, I would love to invite you to the next one, and you can register for the next one by heading over to theamazingseller.com/workshop, and you can register there for an upcoming workshop. Well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of Ask Scott. Now, that was just a highlight from one of our full episodes where I generally answer 3 to 4 questions on a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to all of the past archives of not just the Ask Scott session, but all of the full episodes where I do interviews with top Amazon sellers, people starting from scratch and building a business, if you want to listen to any of those episodes, head over to theamazingseller.com and you can find all of that over there. You can also find details there on how you can ask your own question and get it aired on an upcoming Ask Scott session and possibly see it here on YouTube or just on the podcast. All right, so definitely head over to theamazingseller.com. There's tons of resources over there for you to be able to build your e-commerce and Amazon business. So definitely go check that out. Now, I just wanted to remind you one thing before I let you go. There's a lot of information out there and some of it is really, really good. What I want you to remember is you have to not just consume the information, you have to actually apply that information. So take this information that you learned here today and apply it to your business. And this way here, you can get results. As my shirt says, I wear it almost daily. Take action. We'll see you guys.